Hello, welcome everyone. We're just trying to get more people to join and then we will start up. So please be patient. Hi Madeline, I see you. Welcome. Good to see you. Welcome Madeline. So good to see you. Waiting for more people to join. So please exercise a little patience. My eye will be going to and fro because I'm fine. How are you doing? Hello Dave, how are you doing? Good to see you again. Good to see you again. Just waiting for more people to join. Okay, we'll soon start. Somebody has joined in on Facebook. Amazing. Amazing. Oh, great. Okay, so I think I'm just going to start off. Okay, welcome to today's Instagram live. My name is Idio Formado, as I think that you already know. Thank you so much for joining us today, or joining me today. I'm really excited that you're here. My eyes will be darting between two phones because I'm streaming on Facebook and Instagram at the same time. But please let me know where you're watching from. Let me know the place you're watching from. The last time that we were here, sorry, I had something on my table. The last time that we were here, I had people from different places, South Africa, Abuja, and I was like, we don't have anybody from inside Omaha or inside Oshobo, all those places. So let me know where you're coming from, calling from. We're going to be starting shortly in about 2 minutes. Let me just know where you're coming from. Super excited to be here with you, and I'm really looking forward to an amazing time. Basically on IG Live, I try to teach, and I try to make what I teach everything under 30 minutes. So we're going to be starting in about now. All right. Today on Instagram Live, we're talking about, so last week we talked about choices, and I explained that really in life, you're not nobody is as disadvantaged as you think. Really, you're not as disadvantaged as you think. You are, when people say my village people are doing me, or somebody says my papa no be Dangote, so you might not be able to do other things and all that. But the truth is that if you're a child of God, you can never be disadvantaged. The only thing that it will take for your success is time. And trust me, this is a lesson that I really had to learn, because even the people that we are referring to as having everything made, they each have their struggle. Sorry, it's as if life gave everybody their own specific challenge to deal with. So if you stay where you are and continue to make excuses as to why you can't reach for something, it's you're going to be the one who will lose out at the end of the day, because the truth is that choice is purely you making it. Everybody, even the rich, I don't know if we're the generation that watched the rich also cry. Even the rich have their own challenges that they had to surmount to become who they are. There is nobody who does not have a problem. There's nobody who doesn't have a challenge, but they all made a choice, you know, to go for the stars or become who they want to be. So last week we talked about choices, and we talked about how that you are empowered to make your choice. With the coming of Jesus, Jesus died and resurrected for us to be able to make a choice and follow through on it. John 10:10 verse B, John 10 verse 10b says that I've come to give you life and give it to you more abundantly. So basically what that means is that Jesus is telling you that, look, you are now ready to live the kind of life that God wants you to live. So it will take some sweat from you. It will take some stretch from you. It will take some time, but that is all it's going to take. Because really at the end of the day, if you stick through to the choices, you're going to be who God has called you to be. But if you just make choices, just making choices alone cannot transform your life. You can decide that, okay, I want to be the best version of myself, or I want to be a wonderful mother, or I want to excel in my career. Just making that decision alone, it's not going to bring the change that you need. It's not going to help you transform. What will really help you transform is what you do with that choice. Is what you do with is what you do with the choice. So today basically we're talking about how routines can empower your transformation. After you've made a choice, after you have decided to be somebody great, after you have decided to really make progress in life, what next? Okay? So before we start, I just want to say a short prayer. I always love to pray because everything I do is just rooted in God. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you so much for everybody watching me from Instagram and from Facebook. I commit this short session into your hands as always. Lord, we ask that it will be short, it will be sweet, but it will be impactful. That everybody who is on camera, who is joining me tonight, Lord, will go away with something tangible, something they can apply to their lives, something that will move their lives forward. In the name of Jesus, Lord, we ask that your children will be edified. We ask that the devil will be terrified and God will be glorified. I ask that, Lord, there will be no nerves. Lord, it's just going to be you and your name alone glorified. You speaking through me, my Father. I ask, my Father, that you have your way and take total control. Thank you, Father, in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so this is not preaching. This is not church. I'm not doing church. We're not doing church. But because I'm a Christian and I believe that your transformation is first empowered by God, that's why I always pray in everything that I do. All right, so my eyes will be going between Instagram and Facebook because I'm streaming both at the same time. So please bear with me. If I'm not looking at you, I'm looking at the Instagram. Okay, so we're going to first of all start off with routines. What are routines? Basically, routines are practices that have a regular or frequent occurrence. Ideally, when it comes to now I have a transformational strategy that I created for busy professionals, and in that transformational strategy, I broke down practices into things you do daily, weekly, monthly, and all that. So I call them routines, recurrence, and the rest. But when it comes to the meat of it, routines are just those things you do frequently, mostly daily. So routines are those things that you do every time, you do on a daily basis. Now, sometimes when we think of routines, people think that routines are caging. They will cage you or not allow you express yourself. But take that from a free-spirited person like me. Routines are actually empowering if you know and understand how to use them to your advantage. They are actually very empowering, you know. And depending on how you design it, routines can allow you to express yourself without tying you down. Okay, now, like I said, we have different kinds of routines. Okay, first of all, let me say, when I talk about routines too, some people, you know, because of that cagey thing, they think about routines. They're like, I don't have routines. I don't want to have routines. The truth is that you already have a routine. You just have an unconscious one. For example, when you wake up in the morning, there's usually a set of things you do. Maybe when you wake up in the morning, you pick up your phone, you know, to look at Facebook or Instagram. That is a routine already for you. And you build it. People call it habits, but it's actually a routine. When you go to brush your teeth, you start on in a certain way. That's your routine. It's habit, but it's a routine that has become your habit. Or when you want to take your bath, you start scrubbing from a certain. It's a habit that is a routine that has become a habit for you. So whether or not you're aware, you already have a routine. The idea is now to sit down and critically assess your routines to understand if these routines are actually empowering to you. Okay, so like I said, routines are divided into daily, things you do daily, things you do weekly, things you do monthly, and basically that's about it. Now, people might not typically call routines things you do weekly and monthly routines. In my course, in my transformational strategy course, I call the things you do weekly recurrence, and I call the things that you do monthly releases. And I borrowed that term from the tech industry that has to do with agile methodology. But really, at the end of the day, they're all practices. But for the sake of this program, I'm just going to call all of them routines. All right. Now, if you're joining us, I'll be making this announcement along the way. Please, my eyes will be darting between Instagram and Facebook because I'm streaming both live at the same time. All right. So let's get down to it. Please, if you're enjoying this, please take the time to invite someone and let them come and listen to this. Trust me, this is really going to be empowering, because if you make choices and you don't have a system to translate those choices to your daily living, those choices won't help you. For example, you decide that I want to be more intentional with my prayer life, or I want to start a business. Let me not even use business. Let me talk about habits. I want to be a more loving person, or a more loving daughter, or a more loving spouse. If you don't itemize the actions that you need and break down those actions into things you can do daily, actionable things, it will just be a wish in your head and the change will not come. And that's the whole essence of this learning tonight. Okay, so how do you craft the perfect routine? Having talked about routines, how do you craft the perfect routine? Hi, Rinke, Nigeria, welcome. Hi, Obi. Obi, how are you doing? So good to see you here. Welcome. All right, so okay, Facebook, I can see people are joining, but I don't know, for some reason Facebook is not bringing up all the names. I'm still seeing the names of the initial people. So if you're just coming in, welcome. It's so good to have you here. All right, so how do you craft the perfect routine? The first thing for you to do when you're crafting the perfect routine is to start with why. Start with why. So now, like I said, this is a follow-up to the video I did last week. If you want to watch the video, please watch it on my IGTV series, or you can watch it on Styledby Abba TV. It's there, So you start with why. So first of all, you're going to ask yourself, what transformation am I trying to create? For you to want a transformation, you must have decided to. It was the choice that made you decide. Okay, is the choice that would lead to you wanting to get a transformation. So you ask yourself, what transformation am I looking for? Am I trying to be more intentional in my work? Am I trying to raise my figures in my work? Am I trying to prospect more customers? Am I trying to erase a bad record? Am I trying to repair a relationship? What exactly is my goal? Why am I doing what I'm doing, and why is it important to me? It's very important that you know why something is important to you, because it's going to get to a point when routines will be tiring, and it's the reason that you're doing it that will be the breach for you. Do you understand? So you need to understand why you're doing what you're doing. I'm going to use real life examples. So you start with your why. Understand why you're doing what you're doing. Number two, the next thing you're going to do is, what are you going to do to support that why? So for example, let's say in your life, for personally now, you've decided to, let me use the usual one, lose weight, and you've decided to be more fit, and why do you want to be more fit? You need to ask yourself, why do you want to be more fit? Let me tell you something. There's always, when God created us, He created us, when He created Adam with a consciousness to serve God and serve men. Now, the truth is that no matter how south the world has gone, at the very depth of us is still something in us that wants to serve, that wants to be a blessing to others. And when you make a choice, the best way to make that choice stay is for that choice to be something that can serve that inner part of you. Let me explain. For example, you want to be fit. If you just say that you want to be fit and you decide that I want to be fit because I want to look good and silence, let me use that word. It might be a motivation for you, but if it's not something that is home to you or a value for you, it might not stand the test of time. Now, there are some people, if somebody is a celebrity or if somebody wants to be, somebody is very enchanted with fame and the rest, that might be enough motivation for them, But if you're just doing it because, okay, it sounds good, it's not something that can stay. It's not something that would stay over time when rubber hits the road. So you need to be able to do something that will, I'm saying this especially as a Christian. Now, the flip side is that when you're not born again, what happens is that if you're very ambitious, you're usually able to serve that purpose. But when you become a child of God, what helps you sustain it is to have a need beyond your normal, beyond wanting to look silent, for example, for fitness, and all that. So start with why. So I was talking about fitness. Let's say that you really want to be fit. And the reason is, I want to be fit so that I would have the strength to do my work, to serve God, and do everything I need to do. Now, that's a very, very good reason. Because even a dear pastor once said that one of the reasons the Israelites were sustained in the wilderness was because God monitored what they ate. God monitored what they ate and what they drank. He basically gave them manna and gave them water, and he really helped them. And I really agree with him. So you can say, my why is I want to be more fit. Then the next is, what am I going to do to support that why? So I have made a choice that I am going to be more fit, and I have told myself why I want to be fit. So the next thing is, what am I going to do to be fit? For example, you can decide that, okay, I am going to sign up for a weight loss class. Then I ask myself, will a weight loss class help me to stay fit, or will it help me to lose weight? Now, it's very obvious. It will help me to lose weight because except it's a program that runs for a lifetime, I'm going to have to sign off at a time. So what is my plan after that time to ensure that I stay fit? So you say things like, okay, from what I learned from the weight loss class, for example, I'm going to drink more water, I'm going to eat my meals in measured proportions, or I'm going to take more fruits, all those things that we say and all that. So you write those things down. You write those things down that support the why of what you want to do. The next thing is you ask yourself, when do I want to do this thing? Now, there are two whens. When do you want to start, and when do you want to be doing it? Let me explain. For example, let's say that you have decided to drink more water. You have, for example, to lose weight. Let's say, I'm just using a general example that we can all relate with. You can tell yourself, when do you want to start? Of course, the best thing to break inertia is to start now. The next thing is, when do you want to be doing it? Now, routines are empowered by timing. So you can tell yourself, okay, I want to drink water 3 times a day. I want to drink a glass of water 3 times a day. And I want to drink it in the morning. I want to drink it in the afternoon. I want to drink it in the evening. You have to be that specific. You have to be really that specific. Or, for example, let's say it's in your work. You could say, okay, at work, I want to prospect more customers. So I want to call 3 customers a day. 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 1 in the evening. Do you understand? Or you could say, I want to repair my relationship with my spouse. And you could say, okay, I'm going to call my spouse every day at work, in the afternoon during my lunchtime. It's a routine that you're building. The next thing is, where do you want to do it? A lot of times, routines are empowered if they have a place tied to it. For example, you could say, I want to drink I want to drink a cup of water when I'm at work, or I want to drink a cup of water when I'm having lunch, or I want to drink a cup of water when I'm doing one thing or the other. And that's another thing I want to talk about, routines. Routines are, my coach is here. I am back, Colin. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. All right. So, like I was saying, routines are more powerful when you pair them with already existing practices. For example, let's say that you don't joke with your food, but you have decided that because you want to lose weight, you're going to eat in measured proportions, for example. But you know that you don't joke with your lunch, for example. You don't joke with your breakfast and dinner. You can decide that it's in that lunch, breakfast, and dinner that I'm going to be drinking a cup of water at least. Or let's say that you want to prospect, you want to call your customers, and you love going out for lunch breaks. You love your lunch breaks. You could say, okay, it's during my lunch break, I'm going to write it down, because it is very certain that you will do your lunch break. Something you're certain you will do. Let's say that when you get to work, before you come down from the car, you spend maybe some 5-10 minutes in the car doing nothing. Let's assume it. You've done that for years or for months. It's a part of you. You can decide that I'm going to spend during that time. That is when I'm going to that's when I'm going to call the customer. It could be that during your lunchtime or during break time, I'm just using something all of us can relate to. That is when you surf your phone, you check the internet, or something particularly happens at a particular time in the day. You could say that is when anytime I do this, is going to be a trigger for me to call my spouse. Let's assume you want to repair a relationship with your husband, or you want to be closer to your children. Sorry for those that are just joining. Like I said earlier, that I'm streaming on 2 platforms. I'm streaming on Facebook and Instagram, so my eyes are darting between the 2 platforms. All right, so basically you tie them with those things. That's what will help them. All right, so let's go on now to number 5. I want us to use a very practical example. I'm going to run through. So under my transformational strategy, I created I'm a professional, and I'm a Christian professional that believes that your life does not have to stop because you are working a 9 to 5. Now we have this thing, and it is beautiful, where people say, oh, to fulfill my dreams, I need to step out of, I need to be my own boss so I can have my time. Let me tell you, when you are your own boss, you likely will not have time, because even entrepreneurs, 9 to 5 is helping you because you have a certain time to work, except you work in one of those organizations I've worked in before, But even at that, when you're an entrepreneur, you need to have that discipline to even be able to, So it depends. It really, at the end of the day, the choice is yours. I can't promise you that you will move at the same pace with those who, for example, you decide to have your own business, and somebody else resigned and has their own business. I cannot promise you that you will move at the same pace, but I can tell you that if you stay at it, you will make progress, you will make success, and then you will be successful. And then it will come to a time when you can tell yourself, you know what, I'm done with I'm being a professional. I'm done with the corporate job. I want to go and face my business. I'm done with the corporate world. It's your choice whether or not. I know a woman who has a thriving side business, and she's had it over 10 years, and she doesn't have plans to leave the corporate world. Do you understand? So at the end of the day, it's really your choice. Do you understand? But never allow anything be a reason why you where you are shortchanged, on you don't live the life that God has called you to live. So I'm just going to run through it. So I was talking about my transformational strategy, where I talked about where I shared 8 key areas that a professional should take care of if they really want to try it. The first is a Christian professional, by the way. The first is your faith. The second is your fitness. I'm talking about your mental, emotional, and physical fitness. I put them into one. The third is your self-development. The fourth is your family. The fifth is your finance. The sixth is your field, your career. The seventh is your flows. Now, your flows refers to the things that you do on the outside of your career or your job. It can be a business, it can be a brand, it can be a ministry, it can be an NGO, anything that is work, but is not part of your 9 to 5 is your flows. It's your outpouring on the side. Then framework is the organizational system, the strategy that we use to manage all these things. So, for example, let's say for faith, let's use an example of a man called John. Let's say that John wants to experience an all-round transformation, and he starts from his faith. John's prayer life is dulling, so he wants to improve his prayer life, and John discovered that he's growing fat. He wants to lose some weight, and John also discovers that I'm not reading the way, I'm not up to par, the way I ought to, and he wants to work on that. John discovers that his family is suffering, his wife doesn't have his attention, and he wants to remedy that. His finances are not, he doesn't know where his money is going to. At his work, his boss is complaining, and he's had this passion in his heart to do something, and he's not been able to do it because he hasn't even finished taking care of himself and the things he needs to do. Talk more of doing the other one. So I want to prescribe one solution each that John can do, that would help. For example, faith. John has discovered that his prayer life is dwindling. John can decide that every morning, for a start, I'm going to pray for 15 minutes, and I'm going to do that immediately. Maybe John discovered that when he wakes up in the morning, he picks up his phone. So as he picks up his phone, he will tell himself, instead of opening the phone, he will download a Bible app. And instead of going to Instagram to check or WhatsApp status, he will go to the Bible and just read a passage, a devotional or something, and he will pray for 15 minutes. Now, that is John's strategy. Okay? The second one is fitness. John decides that, okay, I want to get more fit. And then he says, okay, I might not have a lot of time, but I'm going to try and get in some exercise, maybe 30 minutes, 15 minutes of exercise every day. So John decides that, okay, I am going to, or maybe I'm going to watch what I eat. So John says, okay, like we used to talk earlier about water, I'm going to drink more water. So John goes and buys a big water bottle and tells himself that I'm going to carry this water bottle with me to work, and I must finish it before I come back. That is a strategy he's built. Number 3, John wants to improve on his mental development. So he decides that every day during my lunch break, I'm going to read for 15 minutes and get a book that really makes sense to him, you know. Number 4, family. John's wife is complaining, you don't have my time, you know, and all that. And he says, okay, you know what? During my lunch break, before I pick up my book to read, my lunch break is 1 hour, it's 30 minutes. I will call my wife or send her one very sweet, yummy text message just to let her know that, hey, I love you and I'm thinking of you. He writes it down. Finance. John doesn't know where his money is going to. So he decides, you know what? I'm going to start tracking my money in the evening. Before I lie down to sleep, I'll write down all the things I spent today. And so that at the end of the month, I can at least say, okay, this is what I'm using my money for. Let's start from there. Then on his career, he can decide, okay, what's the that my boss is complaining about? What is the solution that I need? And what are the things I need to do? Then concerning his do you understand? I don't want us to spend so much time. I'm looking at time, but those are the examples of what John can do. Now, the next thing that would happen is that John is able to plug in these examples. John is able to plug these things in, and is able to by the time you discover that over a period of say 2 weeks or 4 weeks, because John was able to say, okay, I'm going to pray for this amount of time at this particular time, you will find out that his prayer life would have actually improved. His relationship with his wife is improved, because his wife knows for certain that John is going to send me a text or call me in the afternoon at work. I know that he's thinking of me, you know. And he will discover that because he's drinking more water, he has less tummy space for junk food. And it might not be very noticeable, but he might feel stronger. Do you understand? So those are the routines that John created to be able to empower his transformation. You know, so he didn't just make a choice to be a better person. He actually backed it up with routines. Now, what are the characteristics of routines? What do you need for a routine to really be effective? Number 1, the routine must be simple, especially if you're starting out. It must be simple, not complicated in any way. Make it easy. Make it simple. If possible, start with 1 or 2. Sorry, my eyes are darting because I'm using 2 cameras at the same time. It must be easy, you know, and make it very easy. Number 2, the shorter time it will take, the better, especially again if you're starting out. Like I talked about John, praying for 15 minutes. Now, some very hardcore Christians will say 15 minutes, what is that? No, leave it like that. John has not been praying at all. So that 15 minutes is a good start. Do you understand? Over time, he would improve it. Or buying a 1 liter bottle of water. He has not been drinking at all. That 1 liter is okay. Over time, he can improve it. Then number 3, the routine must be meaningful to you. Don't just do a routine off the head because you want to do it. I want to start taking a walk every day around the block because you want to just start taking it. Why are you taking it? That's why I said you start with your why. Because one day you're going to ask yourself, if you don't see the need for what you're doing, you won't press in it. So the routine must be meaningful. It must be able to tie to something you really want. For example, when I walk around the block, it will help me be stronger. It will refresh me. When I call my wife will be happier. Or I call my husband will be happier. You understand? And our relationship will be better. You need to tie to something meaningful. All right. Then next, if possible, tie it to an existing routine. So, like I talked about earlier, with the lady that maybe gets to work and sits in her car, tie it to an existing routine, something that you already do. Not that you cannot do it without an existing routine, but the more you tie it to something that you're already doing, the easier. For example, let's say that you want to make an affirmation. You've created an affirmation and you want to be making an affirmation. You can tell yourself, I'm going to make that affirmation just before I brush, because it's certain that you will brush every day. Okay? Now, start with 1, maximum of 2. If you're trying to create a transformation in an area of your life, start with 1 thing, 1 low-hanging thing that you can easily do. Maximum 2. Don't overburden yourself. Don't try to do everything at the same time. There are some people that can do a whole lot more, but if you're starting, please start with 1 and then track it. Then that takes me to my next point. Use a tracking system. You need to be able to track your success. So you can either use an electronic tracking system. There are a lot of apps that help you build habits, because the whole idea of this thing is to build the habits, really. So there's the Time Tune app, there is the Habit Tracker app, and there are other apps that can help you. You just fix in what you want to do, when you want to do it. It will prompt you. And some of these apps are so good that you can stick done, and it will tell you done. And then the one that you don't do, it will remind you that you don't do it. Or you can just get a very beautiful journal. Write out the things you want to do, the time you want to do it. And every day, just mark yourself. For example, you can decide, you can create a sheet. I'm actually going to create routine trackers at some point and give it for people to release for people to download. You just write out the things you want. Number the day, say per week, from Sunday to Saturday. And just write down, okay, Sunday to Saturday, and write down tick. Okay, on Monday I did it, tick. On Tuesday I did it, tick. On Wednesday I did it that way. And at the end of the week, assess yourself and see how you're going. Now, it's very important for you to track, because if you don't track, you might not know how things are going. When you're able to track, usually the first few weeks might be the roughest. But when you track, you can say, okay, I did this, and this is what happened. And I was able to do only 3 days out of 7 days. You ask yourself, be honest with yourself, why was it not? What didn't I do more than that? You find out what the problem is, then you address it. For example, you could say, oh, okay, the bottle of water was was inside the car, or was far away from me or something. That's why I didn't drink it. So what am I going to do to correct it? Next time I'll put the water right in front of me. Or I didn't call my wife because I didn't have airtime. For example, I'm using a general example. So you find a way. Why did you succeed on those days? Try and remember, and then look for a solution for them. And that is how you keep improving. All right. Then schedule a reasonable reward. Learn to reward yourself. Learn to reward yourself. But of course, it depends on what you're doing. You know, if you're doing something that is it's reasonably it really depends at the end of the day what you want. But learn to reward yourself. But you don't give yourself ice cream for drinking water all through the week. I think that's counterproductive. But you do something really nice, something you would love, you know. So learn to reward yourself, a reasonable reward. You can do the reward monthly, so you can give yourself time to have built the habit to an extent. Or you can do it weekly, really. But learn to reward yourself, but not in a way that will spoil you. So I want to give a personal example. Something happened recently. A particular tech board asked me to be an ambassador for them. Now, somehow I just told myself that this one that they chose me, you know. I was wondering, because I'm still new in the tech world. So I was like, and all that. So at that point, I now realized that I'm not valuing myself as an IT person. And I was now reading a book that had to do with values. And the book was talking about valuing yourself. And I knew that somehow I wasn't seeing myself yet fully in that. I'm an IT person, but based on the caliber of this organization, I was wondering, are you sure they chose right? And I asked the lady, like, so she was like, yes. So I knew that I needed to change my mindset about how I saw myself, because people obviously are seeing me higher than I'm seeing myself. And that's what happens to all of us. A lot of times we underestimate ourselves. So I decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pray about it. I'm going to study books to improve my knowledge. And I wrote them down, and I put everything into a routine. I wrote down when I will be praying. I wrote down when I will be reading and the kind of books I will be reading. Now, you can be very sure. I actually did that today. I had the meeting with them, I think, on Monday, and I really I fully became aware of everything. Like, okay, all this stuff. I think I had a meeting Monday, Tuesday. So I was like, okay, I need to tackle this thing. You can be sure that by the next 2-4 weeks, I will no longer see myself that way. I will definitely see myself in a much better light. That's the power of routines. Routines empower your transformation. So with this, this brings us to the end of this Instagram live. I am so very excited. I was able to deliver this under. Okay, my target was 30 minutes, but I think I did a little bit above 30 minutes, and I am grateful for that. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please drop in the comments, let me know. If you have any questions, please drop in the comments, let me know. I'll be waiting. If you have any comments, drop in the comment. Let me know. Okay, so if we do not have any questions, I would need to go now. Thank you so much, everyone that came out on Instagram and Facebook. It's been amazing. Next week is going to be another amazing topic. Same place and same time. See you and God bless you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye-bye. Sorry, if you came on Facebook and I did not call your name, it's because I'm not exactly seeing everybody watching. I can see Oluchindukwe, Princess Oluwatumisi, Joseph Ode, but it wasn't populating the way Instagram would usually populate. But thank you so much, everyone that came out. The replay is going to be up for watching, so you can watch it. And if you have any questions, you could just send me a DM. I really appreciate it. Sorry that my eyes are darting again because I'm streaming from 2 different phones. Thank you so much and have an amazing evening. God bless you. Bye-bye.